Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Best English Podcast. I'm Sarah, and today we're starting a very exciting topic: how to become fluent in English. Let me ask you, have you ever studied English for a long time, but when you want to speak, the words just don't come out? Or maybe you speak, but it feels slow, not natural. Don't worry, this happens to almost every learner. The good news is you can change this. Fluency is not about speaking perfect English. It's about speaking with confidence and with flow. Even if you make mistakes, you can still sound fluent. And in this episode, I will show you step by step how to do it. We will talk about listening, vocabulary, practice methods, and daily habits that will help you sound more natural. But before we start, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, give this video a like, and share it with a friend who is also learning English. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. When you think of fluency, what comes to your mind first? All right, let's begin. The first thing we need to talk about is one of the biggest mistakes learners make when they try to become fluent. Many learners believe fluency means knowing a lot of words. They think, if I learn 10,000 words, then I will be fluent. But this is not true. Fluency is not only about words. It's about using the words you already know, quickly and naturally, when you speak. Let me give you an example. I had a student named Anna. She studied English for many years. She knew many words from books. But when she tried to speak, she stopped. She searched in her head, and she lost confidence. She told me, "Sarah, I think my problem is vocabulary." But after a few weeks of practice, she discovered something important. She already had enough words. What she needed was practice using them in real conversation. So remember this. You don't need perfect vocabulary to be fluent. You need to make the words you already know become automatic. And how do we make them automatic? The answer is practice with short, simple sentences again and again until your brain doesn't need to think so much. This is the real secret of fluency. Not big words, not grammar books, but training your mouth and brain to work together, like a team. But of course, when you start doing this, another challenge appears. Many learners feel nervous or shy when they try to speak. So, how do we deal with that? Let's talk about something very real. Many people understand English in their head, but when it's time to open their mouth, they feel blocked. Have you felt this? You know the words, but nothing comes out. This usually happens because of fear. Fear of mistakes. Fear of people laughing. Fear of sounding not perfect. Let me tell you something important. Every fluent speaker makes mistakes, even native speakers. The difference is, they don't stop. They keep talking. So here's a little exercise you can try. Every day, talk to yourself in English for 2 minutes. Describe what you're doing. I'm making coffee. I'm washing the dishes. I'm walking to work. It sounds simple, but it trains your brain to speak without stopping. I had a student, Amir, who was always shy. He never spoke in class. But when he started this 2-minute talk exercise at home, something amazing happened. After a few weeks, his confidence grew. He told me, "Sarah, I'm not afraid of my voice anymore." That's the key. To become fluent, you must accept mistakes and keep going. Every sentence, even with errors, makes you stronger. And once you build this courage, the next step is learning how to keep a conversation alive, even when your English is not perfect. So, you've started speaking. You're practicing every day. But then you face a new problem. You're talking with someone and suddenly you don't know what to say. The conversation dies. This happens to almost every learner. The good news is, you don't need perfect grammar or a big vocabulary to keep a conversation going. What you really need are some simple tricks. Here's the first one. Ask questions. People love to talk about themselves. If you don't know what to say, just ask, "Really? How was it?" Or, "Why did you like it?" These short questions keep the other person talking and you can relax while listening. Second trick, use fillers. Native speakers do this all the time. Words like, "well, you know, actually," give you a little extra time to think. They make your English sound more natural too. And here's another idea. Connect to your own life. If someone talks about food, share what you eat in your country. If they talk about movies, share the last movie you watched. This makes the talk personal and real. I had a student, Maria, who was always afraid of silence in conversations. She thought, if I don't speak perfectly, the other person will get bored. But when she learned to ask questions and use fillers, everything changed. She told me, Sarah, now conversations feel like playing a game, not like a test. That's the magic. Conversation is not about perfection, it's about connection. And when you start connecting more easily, the next challenge becomes speed. How to train your brain to understand and answer faster. So, now you can keep a conversation alive. You ask questions, you use fillers, you connect. But then comes another challenge. The other person speaks, and you feel you are always one step behind. By the time you think of the right word, the moment is gone. This is a very common problem. Many learners tell me, Sarah, I understand the question, but my answer comes too slowly. The solution is not magic, it's practice. And here's one powerful method: thinking in English. Let me explain. Most learners listen in English, but then translate into their own language, and then try to translate back into English to answer. That takes too long. That's why you feel slow. To fix this, you need to train your brain to skip translation. How? Start with small steps. When you look at an object, say the word in English. Chair, table, phone. When you walk outside, describe things in your mind. The weather is cold. That man is running. It feels simple, but it's very powerful, because you are teaching your brain to make English your first response. Another great trick is shadowing. Listen to a short sentence and immediately repeat it, like an echo. Don't worry if you're not perfect. Just try to match the rhythm and speed. This trains your mouth and your brain to move faster together. I had a student, Kareem, who always answered very slowly in class. After 2 weeks of shadowing every day, just 5 minutes, his answers came out so much faster. He told me, I feel like English words are finally waiting for me, not running away from me. That's the feeling we want. English ready on your tongue, ready in your brain. And once you start speaking faster, another challenge appears. How to speak not only fast, but also clear. Because speed without clarity can cause confusion. So, your English is getting faster. You can answer more quickly. You feel more confident. But here's something important. Speed is not everything. If people cannot understand you, then speaking fast doesn't help. Many learners worry about their accent. They say, Sarah, my accent is bad. I will never sound like a native speaker. But here's the truth. You don't need a perfect accent. What you really need is clarity. Clarity comes from 3 things: pronunciation, stress, and rhythm. Let me give you an example. If you say, I want to go, but you put the stress on the wrong word, I want to go, the meaning feels strange. Stress tells the listener what is important. Another key is pausing. Many learners try to speak without stopping because they think silence is bad. But short pauses make your speech easier to follow. Even native speakers pause all the time. Just listen to me now, I pause a lot. And here's something you can practice every day. Read a short text out loud. Focus on sounding clear, not fast. Imagine you are a teacher reading to your students, slowly, with rhythm, and with natural pauses. I had a student, Anna, who spoke very quickly, but her sentences sounded like one long word. People always asked her to repeat. She started practicing with short pauses and stronger stress. In just 1 month, everyone told her, your English is so much easier to understand. That's the power of clarity. You don't need to erase your accent. You need to make your words shine. And when you sound clear and natural, people don't just understand you. They also enjoy listening to you. And that makes conversations smoother, more friendly, and more real. But after clarity, the next step is just as important. Learning how to use more words and expressions, so you don't always repeat the same ones. So, your English is clear, your speed is improving, and conversations feel easier. But maybe you notice something. You keep using the same words again and again. You say good for everything or nice for everything. This is normal. Most learners stick to safe words. But if you want to sound more fluent, you need to grow your vocabulary, not with long lists, but in a smart and natural way. Let me share a simple strategy. Learn words in groups, not alone. For example, instead of just learning the word big, you can also learn huge, enormous, massive. When you learn them together, your brain connects them. That makes it easier to remember. Another trick is to learn words from real context. Don't only study from a dictionary. Watch a short video, listen to a podcast, or read a story. Notice the words people use. Write them down with the sentence. Then try using that word in your own sentence. I remember one of my students, Tom. He always used the word very good. Everything was very good. Food, music, movies, all very good. So we made a challenge. Each week he had to replace very good with a new word. One week it was excellent, the next it was amazing, later fantastic. After 2 months he told me, "Sarah, now I feel more alive when I speak English. My words have more color." That's exactly the point. Vocabulary gives you color in your language. It makes you more interesting and it shows confidence. And here's one more important idea. Don't just collect new words, use them. If you learn a new word today, try it in a message, in a short voice note, or in your next conversation. A word only becomes yours when you use it. And as your vocabulary grows, you will notice something else. You don't only want to understand words, you want to understand the culture and feelings behind them. So, you've been learning new words, speaking more clearly, answering faster, and keeping conversations alive. But here's something important that many learners forget. Language is not just words. Language is culture, emotion, and connection. Think about it. When someone says, "How are you?" in English, they don't always expect a long answer. It's often just a friendly hello. Or when someone says, "Let's catch up sometime," it doesn't always mean tomorrow. It's a way to stay connected. If you only study grammar and vocabulary, you miss these little cultural signals. But when you listen more, watch more, and notice how people really use English, you start to understand the hidden meaning. That's when you stop sounding like a student and start sounding like a real communicator. I had a student, Maya, who studied English for years but still felt foreign in every conversation. Then she began watching short English vlogs and listening carefully to everyday expressions. After a few months, she said, "Sarah, I don't just speak English now, I live in English." And that changed everything. That's the final step to fluency. It's not only about words or speed, it's about connection. When you connect with the language, the people, and the culture, you feel confident, natural, and free. So here's my message for you. Don't wait for perfect English. Start using it now. Listen every day, speak every day, even if it's just 10 minutes. Small steps every day will take you to fluency. And if you enjoyed this podcast, make sure to subscribe, give it a like, and leave me a comment. Tell me what part helped you the most. Share this with a friend who's also learning English so they can grow with you. I'm Sarah, and this was the Best English Podcast. Keep practicing, keep listening, and keep believing in yourself. Fluency is not a dream, it's your future. You've just finished another episode of the Best English Podcast. Great job. Every time you listen, you take one more step toward fluency. Remember, English is not about perfection, it's about progress. Even 10 minutes a day makes a big difference. So keep going, keep practicing, and never stop believing in yourself. And if this podcast helped you, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and leave a comment. I love hearing from you.